dans mon pays, l'Algérie. Et ensuite, donc, j'ai rejoint donc, le Sénat. Je suis sénateur. Et actuellement, donc, je suis membre du Parlement panafricain. Je suis président du groupe régional de l'Afrique du Nord au niveau du Parlement panafricain. Je saisis cette opportunité qui m'est offerte pour remercier le gouvernement ghanéen et l'UNESCO qui nous ont permis donc de participer à ce dialogue de haute utilisation de la science et de la technologie durable pour la période post-2015. Qu'est-ce qu'on peut dire donc de l'impact donc de la science et de la technologie d'un pays? On ne peut dire que c'est un impact. La science est, comme entendu depuis hier, constitue l'élément clé et fondamental dans tout développement visé par un pays pour le bien-être et pour concrétiser donc l'objectif fondamental du développement dans le développement humain. C'est certes. Compétence, donc on ne peut pas utiliser la technologie. Donc il faut investir. La première des choses qui est fondamentale, c'est le développement humain. Et pour assurer ce développement humain et investir dans le développement humain, il faut investir efficacement. La formation joue un rôle très important. L'un des objectifs des OMD qui était l'éducation pour tous ne suffit pas. Il ne suffit pas qu'on ait le nombre de scolariser. Il faut aller au-delà. Il faut mener et accompagner donc le maximum de scolarisés vers la formation supérieure. Constat dans plusieurs pays, un décrochage scolaire précoce, un abandon de l'école. Donc il faut lutter contre le décrochage scolaire précoce. Comme on le sait, c'est évident et c'est logique, on a vu ces derniers temps et depuis l'année 2000, l'Algérie, le Maroc, la Tunisie, d'autres pays africains et plusieurs pays européens, bien entendu, ont adopté un système LMD. L pour dire licence, M pour dire doctorat. Dans les pays anglophones, c'est bachelor, master and doctorate. Mais pour moi, obliger un étudiant ou un enfant de rester dans sa ville de la première année jusqu'à la dernière de sa formation sans bouger, sans qu'il y ait cette mobilité. Au sein de la même pays, il faut qu'on bouge d'une université à une autre. Aller assurer donc un cursus ou un tronçon de son cursus dans un autre pays, dans une autre université et revenir dans son université pour terminer son cursus. Comment un cursus donc dans un pays africain et aller entamer donc un semestre ou une année ou 2 ans, obligé de rester dans sa même ville durant toute sa formation. Aider, être D pour dire la démarche qualité. Il faut assurer donc un enseignement de qualité. Ça, c'est en ce qui concerne donc la formation. Le deuxième point auquel j'aborde donc et ça a été abordé à peu près hier, c'est une politique nationale sur la recherche scientifique et le développement technologique. Comment donc à résoudre ou à développer et en faire donc un programme national et industriel avec éventuellement le concours des chercheurs experts internationaux dans le cadre du partenariat. Une étude sur le plan génie civil pour en construire donc les barrages. Et pour aller au-delà, avec les moyens, bien entendu, il y a donc à demander. Pour les pays qui sont en bord de la mer, il y a le dessalement des eaux. Il y a autre chose, des stations pour utiliser de l'eau pour l'irrigation, l'agriculture, etc. Donc, tout cet aspect a un impact très positif sur la... Il faut mettre en place une révolution industrielle. L'Afrique est riche, très riche en ressources, mais économiquement. Donc, il faut renverser la vapeur. Il faudra plus donc exporter à outrance donc les matières premières. Il faudra en créer sur place donc des chaînes de production, produits finis, et en exporter. Parce que qu'est-ce qui se passe ici? On exporte donc de la matière première africaine. Prenons le cas du Niger. Tout l'uranium du Niger est exporté vers la France. La France qui en fait de l'énergie nucléaire pour régler son problème d'électricité. Le Niger souffre d'électrification. De sa propre donc, ressource naturelle, il ne peut pas en bénéficier de l'électrification. Donc il faut une véritable industrielle, locale, pour en faire plutôt, c'est l'utilisation dans la gestion administrative. L'utilisation des technologies d'information dans la gestion administrative. L'utilisation des TIC dans la gestion a deux orientations fondamentales. La première orientation, c'est la modernisation de l'administration. Et la deuxième, l'administration démocratique. Malheureusement, donc, les pays africains sont classés vraiment donc, en bas de tableau en matière d'indice de maturation de e-gouvernance, la gouvernance électronique. Je pense qu'il y a lieu, parce que quand on utilise les technologies, créer donc une atmosphère de confiance pour aller de l'avant dans le cadre donc de l'épanouissement d'ensemble d'exécution, pratiquement. Et de l'exécution du programme gouvernemental, en proposant des questions orales aux membres du gouvernement sur telle ou telle question, et pour les séances d'écoute avec les ministres, et enfin donc les sorties sur terrain pour voir sur place qu'est-ce qui se passe, donc qu'est-ce qu'il y a lieu, membres de l'Union africaine, mais qui restent en suspens depuis des années, non gratuits, non signés. Donc, je cite un exemple très important. Par exemple, le traité africain port maritime. C'est un traité qui a été en Assemblée générale inter-pays africains sur le plan de la marchandise. Actuellement, qu'est-ce qu'on voit? On voit sur le trafic maritime, il n'y a que du trafic maritime qui sont échangés entre pays. Le reste, c'est toujours entre un pays et un pays d'Afrique. Énormément donc d'ateliers au niveau donc du ciel.
Thank you. Development. Sustainable development. Therefore, it behoves on all of us to do whatever we can to put emphasis on these subject areas. If energy, science, it can you look at other innovations, it's very impossible to develop without putting money into this area. It is therefore very important to put emphasis on the investment of these areas of development. Keep drilling, bringing about some making addition to some important innovations over there. It is therefore very important as a country and as a continent for our executives, for that when they are preparing their budgets, make sure that even if there is a change of government, that issue must be continued, because at the end of the day, it is to the benefit of the country as a whole. My colleague has spoken a lot about the resources that we have and the state in which these resources are, which will need to change from one state to the other so we can add value and therefore begin to use of youth employment that we come from. But today, most of our youths are not employed. And only that findings in terms of food technology, food security, for instance, activities and all those things, we will be able to begin to solve the unemployment we have today in Africa. In the case of those who could not do the academic work and they find themselves at the other side, which I would term the dropouts, still their budgets must be allocated to them and resources must be preserved for the utilization of research findings in the sector. With these few words, I think we as parliamentarians are resolved that whenever budgets are presented and the well-developed science basis will form the basis for accelerated and sustainable development of Africa.
Mes deux collègues, le thème qui nous réunit et qui réunit le dialogue qui sont sans doute mitigés. Cet objectif qui vise le développement de l'Afrique sera atteint que si les moyens importants sont alloués à la formation et à la recherche dans le domaine de la science et des technologies. Il faut toujours, comme en ce moment, élaborer qu'en aval. L'énergie, l'eau sont essentiels pour la vie. Le développement de l'Afrique est à ce prix. Je tiens à féliciter les initiateurs de cette rencontre et les participants qui ont proposé de bonnes choses devant permettre, si elles sont appliquées, au mieux-être de nos populations. Je vous...
Thank you. Our next presenter is Honorable Atta Boafo from the Parliament.
Our government's going to do. Should we finish, and then after that, you think coming out of these things, our researchers are getting tired on some of these things. CSIR, we've been there on several occasions. If you look at the report and the researches that they've made in there, beat your imagination. So I am trying to inform that the communique that is going to come out of these very aggressive should get these our governments, the academia, and all the stakeholders be in the knowledge that science technology is a very important thing which we have to spend money on. Chairman, I think this is all what I will say. Thank you very much.
Juliana, as Honorable Elizabeth Mensah, Honorable Elizabeth Mensah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Juliana Azuma Mensah and myself are with him at the Pan-African. So he's confused with the two names. That is all. I will just add something small to what Atta Boafo said. It is what is even sad is that we'll begin to do something. After a change of government, you see that the other government the new government who abandoned the other government was doing. That is killing our society. It is especially in Ghana. So I want to suggest that, or I was even thinking about something that this meeting, maybe they should have brought somebody like the chief of staff or somebody to sit in and listen to what we are doing so that they can put all those things. Otherwise, once the government changes, nobody is going to continue what you are doing, and it's a kind of waste of money. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There are honorable members of Parliament among us who may not be seated on this table. They acknowledge the member of Parliament, the Deputy Minister from South Sudan.
Happy to be panel and also so it's want to, but my name and country have already been shortlisted. So the story was about the invisible man that you read long time ago. And it was him until at the time he made a mistake by creating a cat. So is that cat alive now? He said, why not if it has? So and also now wars, creating an unstable environment for STI to continue. And so under development and dependency and technologically are prevalent. So technology is a secret of a nation. Africans should actually endeavor to work knowledge and technology transfer that could not be to prioritize, which is and we will know those factors that we can work on, such as food security, water, structure, prioritize together. We can make a shortcut to eliminate some of the ills. Environment is very important for STI to exist, support elected governments. The first one is the industrialization. Industrialization is one of the things we have identified as an important
and I'm sure it's the same, because when I was in session 2, to get the capacity that we need to develop science and technology, which is what we need today for the to be fruitful, it is the challenge we have in our country, because most of them want to go and do the arts, economy, to ride on. The question was then, how is it that we can get these interventions targeted? And they said it this way, was the answer, that we have to adopt a universal teaching. We have one way of doing things, and my brother from Algeria saying so. We are left with one last challenge, that we need well-trained teachers downstreams. So the teachers are known to be the poorest of civil servants, less committed, so to be able to get things done, you have to rush into an office, to be to get a service car. So I wonder what, as a parliament, your own countries have done to remedy this situation. The second one is how our as a parliament, presidents all signed, and we certainly
floor of the House. I recall that every year. So this is partly due to the level of mystification. Very difficult for us to quickly understand and put on the floor of the parliament. So I would call on the scientific community and the scientific community help us so that we can freely talk about dealing.
All of you will agree with me that this is not met in this fashion on papers. So we need everybody to be involved, and the universities should also be universities that with the people. There are a lot of there's good knowledge, good professors in this, and I think that's a big benefit. Anyway, lastly,
the person mine is very simple. Whether we are learning or stealing, one that plays the role of a watch. What has Parliament done in playing that role to make sure that all who have been preaching that should really make the executive sit up? I heard somebody lamenting yesterday because approved, very critical. Representing the people, the executive does not put his hand layer in governance is very critical, and whether they will be dying or be shouting ideas. Now that we have realized that we are not doing ourselves good, I think it's important that we begin to think of how to encourage these experts to remain how to encourage them by people's representative, the vision of the African Union in establishing the African Parliament is form for the peoples and their grassroots as an organ. Is that platform, and I can inform that we have speakers wherein we bring all the speakers of various parliaments to come and discuss, familiarize themselves with the programs and policies of the African Union, and also input sessions, so we have dealing with science and technology. Work is that that's where experts can bring their and the politicians the need for one thing or the other to be, because whatever you think you are doing, it's just meant for the. So, we have committees that deal with this and other issues that are of relevance to the African people's organization. In conclusion, I want to suggest that the parliaments have to and then work with the executive so that the people will call in the government to order, and that must be done with when why this has not, it was crying and then
debate comments. Okay, I'm advised 15 minutes for comments or debate. Yeah, 1, 2, then I come this side.
Thank you, honorable members. And I think I was also Teka Mailula. I'm from the Department of Science and Technology in South Africa. I'd like to first commend I think UNESCO and the government on condition that I don't repeat what I did because we're necessary. But I think reaffirming mostly what I hear as the key from our Parliament, and I think parliamentarians in general. And doing so, wanting to doing so, I think also challenging the Parliament in general terms have with the young academics. When I pretty much around what of science and technology in general, reflecting on the policies that have been adopted. I mean, we can go as far as back as in my view, the oversight role in a parliament, and I think many have reflected on this a little bit, but also been careful continent more relates to ecology. I think
us 10 minutes, so we run the risk that by the time it will be almost 10 minutes.
In relation to that, looking at, I mean, I think the chairperson, I'll summarize quickly. You've reiterated this very nicely. What we lack is the impact of science and technology in communities. You've been and the closer interaction of I think between government and the civil society or society are missing that generally, and I think I should just thank you.
Thank you. Yes, honorable parliamentarians have said the advice with impact or good advice. I think base is achieve that, but it's very important that it is transparent and it is
called the say that it is important that all parliamentarians funding to universities reducing under your nose.
Africa undergraduate
thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Dan.
between what the scientists are doing work. We don't know what the professors are doing because we
rather suggest, if it could be possible, can the scientific community have a lobby group? One word within the parliament that comes so much in identifying.
Question que les parlementaires se posent souvent. Alors, pour véritablement, est-ce que des documents de ce genre sont disponibles au niveau de nos parlementaires, à part ceux que moi je connais du domaine agricole, etc. Est-ce qu'il y a des documents, disons, de grande orientation et qui...
For information, or if it's information that's allowed.
UNESCO has a year, and you're calling that UNESCO effectively for the development, energy for all of us, or whatever. But that day, we can all celebrate it globally as one UNESCO, or which
goes that actually the AU is as part of negotiation. Now within that report, there's very, and that is we have to engage you, the parliament adequately, so at least we get you into those into the African system where it goes. From the UN ones, but at least the African ones are 12, and that's why it's been taken to. And about the champions, for let's say for HIV and AIDS, there's what is called Watch Africa, which helps let us build on
position. Thank you for that. But the problem remains that most of the planet AU are a preserve of the heads of state in the executive. They are not cascaded down to everybody. I can assure you, scientists in this room, even parliamentarians, that document. We don't even know about it. But already it's a common position for Africa. It's not very much part of what you are saying. So, problem. But coming to the questions, and maybe before that, I can say, for the information of all the participants, parliament, whether or national, to oversee or scrutinize. But anyway, we are within a few months, and arrangement through universities should have said where are in society is to feed into the state what they think. It will be considered and you'll be invited, and that paper will find itself in the chamber. It will be debated in parliament. So please, we invite more papers and even ideas that will be debated, and the minister will have to. And the issue of a lobby group, I think that's yours. That you want to organize yourselves and lobby, whether or lobby with the Pan-African Parliament. The better you are organized, I think the better we also are as parliamentarians. We're getting a lot of input from parliaments. Science for who? I think that's you to answer. Whose science is it? Benefit society, basically. It's not science benefit now. Very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
I think they are extinct species, but not extinct. They are reverse. So, honorables, we thank you very much for your time, and we hope when we invite you to our meetings, both nationally or internationally, you will stay with us to the end. Lunchtime. So we invite you to have lunch at the same place we had it yesterday. The lunch period is, if you can do it within 45 minutes, that would be good. So that you have the next 2 sessions, and then you have ample time to go into the country to spend some of your pay them before you leave the country. Bon appetit.